Hi, this is Leo. Welcome to the Caitos Nutrition Show. In this episode number 9, we are going to talk about diet myths. And these are some things that I hear all the time in my store with customers and with my clients when I'm doing their diets. So these are things that I'm going to change your mindset and thought about. There's probably 3 or 4 of them, things that just don't work and aren't true. Okay, so the first and most popular one that I hear all the time is people think that if they don't eat, they're going to lose weight. Well, there could be nothing farther from the truth than that. Actually, you need to eat more. The more you eat, the more weight you will lose. If somebody asked me, hey Leo, write a book on dieting, what would you call it? What would be the name of your diet? And I think I would call it the Leo's the more you eat, the more you lose diet. And I know I would get a lot of looks and a lot of people that think, what is he talking about? Well, I'm going to explain it to you so it kills the myth about people thinking the less they eat or not eating is going to help them lose weight. You have to think of your metabolism, your engine, as a furnace. If you don't put wood in it, it's not going to burn. So in a perfect world, you want that furnace burning from morning till night. And it's not about how much somebody eats, it's about what they're eating. So, you know, the person that gets up in the morning and goes all the way till noon, has a cup of coffee or whatever, and then has something at lunchtime, that's the worst thing you could do. Because when you wake up in the morning, your engine or your metabolism is sleeping. It hasn't eaten for 8 to 10 hours, and it's in the switch is in the off position. So what's going to flip the metabolism switch on? Food. Okay. So the first thing that I have every morning and that I recommend everybody having is a protein shake, and a protein shake is going to flip that metabolism switch on, and also it's going to send high quality protein very quickly to parts of the body that need it, specifically muscles. Okay, so last night I worked out and I came home and I had my shake and I had my couple of meals. I slept for 8 hours. I got up, I think at 8 o'clock this morning, and the first thing I had, which was probably 8:01, was a protein shake. And like I say, that gets flips the metabolism switch on, it gets your furnace working, and it sends high quality protein to those cells immediately. And we've talked about protein powders before. You have to use the right protein powder. And I'm talking about one that is called hydrolyzed or already broken down, because the key word is absorption. You want those aminos going to the cell immediately. And most protein powders are inferior in the sense that they sit in your gut. Well, you might as well have a whole food meal if that's the case. So the brand and the kind of protein powder has everything to do with it working. So that squashes that myth about not eating to lose weight. The exact opposite is true. And just always remember, it's not about how much you eat, it's about what you eat. Okay, so it's very, very important and very smart to eat from morning until night. I'm sure you guys have watched those reality shows like Alone or Naked and Afraid, or those people that are, in very remote places of the world that rely on what they find or forage or kill to eat. And some of them go weeks without eating. And they can survive for weeks. The human can survive for about probably 5-6 weeks without food. And it's like if you were stranded on a desert island, you can go that long without food. And it's because your body recognizes starvation. And what it does is it flips its metabolism off And otherwise, if it kept it on, you would die very soon. So the same logic applies to somebody that gets up in the morning and doesn't eat. Your body is recognizing starvation, and it just keeps its metabolism shut down. So that would be the first biggest myth about dieting. Another one is, I hear it all the time, people come into my store and they're looking for a certain product that was endorsed by some genius saying that if you take this, it's going to target belly fat loss. Okay, that's impossible. You cannot target any specific body part to lose body fat, especially the belly or the midsection. You can't physically do it. What will do it? Nothing. There isn't anything that will take those love handles or that midsection away, except, and key word here, except losing weight overall. If Mrs. Jones that wants to lose 40 pounds, she starts eating right and she loses 10 pounds, she's going to lose a little bit from head to toe. So when she starts that diet, the 10 pounds comes off, and a little bit comes off her, her shoulders, a little bit her back, a little bit in her waist, a little bit in her glutes, a little bit in her thighs. It's going to come off from head to toe. And the opposite is, if somebody gains 10 pounds, they're not going to gain it all in their midsection. It's going to be a little bit, in their legs, their quads, their hips, their chest, their shoulders, their face. So there is no way. The technical term is called spot reducing. And it applies to anywhere in your body. That's most people's biggest complaint, is belly fat or midsection. But ladies, older ladies that get that loose skin or fat in the back of their arms, or in their glutes or any other part of their body, there is no way to target a specific area. You can do 1,000 sit-ups a day and still never lessen body fat at all. You'll build a muscle underneath that fat. So when you take the fat off, you'll see those beautiful muscles, but there isn't any way to target belly fat loss. So don't fall victim to the millions of products out there. And these are some pretty reputable brands and high known athletes and just actors or actresses that state the fact, and they endorse products, but they don't work. So I'm trying to help you save hard-earned money. Come to my store and I'll show you. There are some products that will help expedite body fat loss tremendously. But as far as buying a product that claims it targets belly fat loss or any other body part, don't waste your money. Okay, so that's number two. The third thing is, I hear it a lot, and especially this time of year, going into that resolution time, right after Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and that's a good thing to do, is to make resolutions, to set goals. So that helps motivate people. The problem is that people don't stick to their resolutions or goals. So joining a gym to lose weight, there's a few sayings, but there's a really good old saying that bodies are built in the kitchen, not the gym. So just because someone has joined a gym, it doesn't mean you're going to lose weight. You've got two things going on in a gym. You have aerobic activity, which is the cardio, which is good for helping to burn fat and expedite weight loss. But if you're going home and eating McDonald's, all the cardio in the world isn't going to help you. And then the other thing that you get out of a gym is the anaerobic exercise, which is the resistance training with weights and machines, and that's going to help build muscle. So joining a gym to lose weight is a myth. It's because it's not going to happen in a gym. It's going to happen outside the gym, and specifically at home with your diet and nutrition. Now I'm not discouraging people to join a gym. I just want to clarify the myth about people thinking that I joined a gym so I'm going to lose all this weight. Isn't going to happen. Okay, and the last thing I just want to touch base on, it's not really a dieting myth, but it has to do with cheat meals and cheat days. Now, I personally don't do cheat meals and I don't do cheat days. I eat clean pretty much every day of my life, 365 days of the year. Now, I'm not suggesting or saying you do that. That's just what I do. A typical client that I design their diet with, the diet's going to be clean. And I hate to use that word diet because it's a lifestyle. So I'm basically giving them advice on what to eat 52 weeks a year. Okay? So they want to know about cheat meals. When do I get a cheat meal? When do I get a cheat day? Well, you don't. You've got to earn it. If you're trying to lose 50 pounds, I want to see 30 come off, and then maybe we'll talk about cheat meals or cheat days. So cheat meals or cheat days can be very productive. And I'm going to educate and explain to you how and why they work. When somebody diets, when somebody is on a nutrient-deprived diet, when their calories are lessened, maybe their carbs are low, and they're dieting, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Well, what happens over time is you're going to hit plateaus, you're going to hit walls, and you're going to experience a little bit of what's called metabolic syndrome, where it means that your metabolism or your engine just slows down. It just does. That's the way it works. The harder you diet, the more you diet, sometimes you hit walls and plateaus where you have to put a cheat meal or even a cheat day or maybe 2 full cheat days. So what is a cheat meal? A cheat meal is a high calorie meal. It's something that you normally wouldn't eat. Like say a steak, a baked potato with butter and sour cream, and a big piece of cheesecake at the end. That's probably a 2,000 calorie meal. And when you put that meal in your stomach, your metabolism goes through the roof. It's used to eating clean, and when you put something like that, or say a pizza in your stomach, it sends your metabolism in orbit to help process and break down and digest all that high fat, high calorie food. So what happens is let's say that you have a cheat meal, what I just said, a pizza or a burger and fries, or a steak and potato and some dessert. Your metabolism is going to crank up to try and break that down and process that food. But what happens is it will actually stay elevated for a day or two in that high octane mode. So when you go back to eating clean the next day or two, your metabolism just burns at a lot higher rate, and you're definitely going to lose some body fat right after that. So number one, you don't get fat by eating one meal or even one day of cheat meals. It just takes time to get fat, just like you don't lose fat in one day. It just takes time. So cheat meals or cheat days can be a very productive thing to do for some people. Like I say, what I do is I don't do cheat meals. I just don't. I don't like the way that type of food makes me feel, so I just avoid them altogether. But what I do is I incorporate what's called refeed days. And refeed days are, for me, probably putting carbohydrates back in my diet for, it could be a meal, it could be one day, it could be 2 days. It just depends upon how I feel, how I look, and how I'm reacting to those refeed days. So it's basically just putting some more calories back in the form of carbohydrates like rice or oatmeal or some potatoes of some sort. So some good clean calories or carbs, and that's going to do the same thing as a cheat meal would, just crank my metabolism back up, kick it back in to where when I take those calories back out, my metabolism just burns fat at a lot higher efficient rate. So I'll do a refeed day sometimes once a week, sometimes once every other week, maybe once a month. I don't know. It all depends upon how I look and how my body's reacting. So I hope these tips on diet myths helped you, and thanks for listening. As always, I hope you learned something from this episode. Please share and subscribe to the link below.